Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be checking out a Mecha Musume kit here from MS General. It's been a little while since we've taken a look at an MS General kit. This is the Zi Shu, Raider of Shadow, and even though the name sounds pretty dark and edgy, the character doesn't really quite match that, I feel like, in terms of tone, but we'll go ahead and check it out here for today's review. She's got some cool, like, Mickey Mouse ears going on the head. I guess it's supposed to be sort of a mouse theme for this one, but it looks like a pretty fun kit, a little bit on the smaller side compared to some of the other larger MS General kits that I've built in the past, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so we got some cool artwork here on the front, relatively simple, just kind of your character illustration over here on one side, and there's the shadowy image over there on the other side where you don't really get a good look at the weaponry too much here at all on the front. But if we go around here onto the side, it's kind of the same thing. My box got a little crunched here, that's just fine. Everything on the inside is going to be just fine. But on the top and bottom of the box is where we got some more images of the kit, where you can kind of get a glimpse at some of the gimmicks and everything that we have included, some of the weaponry and armor, how it's going to look like fully armored up there with that really cool weapon. And then a couple other action poses over here. Around on the top is kind of the unarmored version of that. So you can see it with the hair parts and then kind of with that key sort of part, I guess is what that's supposed to be. That looks pretty cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this box popped open. We'll check out all the contents inside. The first step, we got the instruction manual here, which is basically the same as the front of the box there on the front side. On the inside here, it's all in Japanese there, but you've got a really cool image down here kind of all, it looks like kind of all of the MS General designs so far there in this kind of one single image. That looks quite interesting. On the next page here, a short story there, and this section would appear to be all in Chinese, interestingly, for that. Going on to the next page though, so like most of the text in the manual, except for that manga, is all in Japanese, and it's just for that like one single page of manga there that's in Chinese. So I don't know, not sure if that's going to be the same for like every international release. Maybe the one like if for the copies of this kit that are meant to be just sold within China, maybe everything's in Chinese. Oh no, I apologize. Taking a look at this again, I'm realizing that everything is in, it looks to me like Chinese and Japanese, so Chinese above and then Japanese down below. I believe that's correct. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it looks like it's in both languages there. But anyway, as you guys can see here from just the first couple of pages, it's just similar to what we saw on the outside of the box, some sample images showing some different gimmicks and poses of the actual kit. Up next, we've got our parts list, and then all of the construction after that. So once we get through all of the construction and just kind of how to use all the weapons and gimmicks and all that good stuff, let's fast forward here to the back where we've got our decal guide, so where all the decals are going to go around on the kit. And let's go ahead and take a look at those. Decals are going to be the first of, it looks like quite a few different interesting kind of added stuff that we have included with this one. There's a nice close-up look at the decals. Most of them are going to be either in black, purple, or white. You've got a couple of eye decals down here at the bottom and mouth decals. The rest of these are just different markings that are going to go around on the kit. This whole section up here is just all in white, so it's going to be hard for you guys to see. A couple of other added bits here are going to be these really cool cards here. So these are Raider of Shadow cards. This one RS01 and this one RS02. Looks like for those, but those are really interesting. And then we've got this really cool postcard of that image from inside the manual that we were just taking a look at. There's the backside here for this. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but just a really cool kind of art card there. For some other contents, looks like we've got a couple of foil stickers here, nothing really too much for those. And then a couple of wires. Now this is kind of quite stiff wire. There's one in black and one in metallic purple. And then taking a nice close-up look here at the pre-printed faces, the clarity of the printing for those looks really nice. The color looks good. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different printed faces there. And then 1, 2 faces that are unprinted that you could use those waterslide decals on if you wanted to. Alright, then getting into the runners here, we've got our first of 2 A runners. This is the A runner, which is just going to be all the parts for your hands, which is in a softer type plastic here, as you can see in black. Our other A runner is in a coated silver, and it's the same for runner B here as well. So all these parts are in this nice silver coating, looks really cool. Runner C is in 2 different colors, flesh tone for this side, black for a few more parts over there on that side. Runner D is also going to be some more flesh tone parts there. And then we've got runners E, F, G, and H, which are all going to be just more parts here in black. There's runner E, runner F. These are just going to be all parts of the armor and everything. Some recognizable parts there for the armor and different parts of the kit that is all here in black. There's runner H. Runners I and J, then a couple of smaller runners. Runner I, a few joint parts there in flesh tone. Runner J, a few parts here in this light purple. Runner K then is another plated runner, this time in a very orangey kind of copper gold color. It looks really nice. Runner L then is another 2-color runner, black over here on this side for a bunch of joint parts, and then a very interesting shade of brown for the hair. And that continues on to runner M here for the rest of our hair parts. Runners N and O are going to be all of our clear purple parts for the kit. And lastly, runner P is going to be a few parts here in white. And that's it for all the runners. Alright guys, so here's how Zi Shu is going to look all built up. And here's also how Zi Shu is going to look all built up. Now, one really great thing about this kit is that it's one of those that you can build 2 full bodies in the kit. Now, a lot of times what you'll have is a kit where these Mecha Musume kits in particular is what I'm referring to. You'll have 2 different ways or multiple different ways that you can build it, but you only have the parts to build up 1 full body at a time. Most Kotobukiya kits, or if not all Kotobukiya kits, are like that. And then a lot of the other companies that are making these kits is usually like that. In order to change the forms, you can't keep one entire form and then still have another entire form all at the same time. There's some part swapping required, but in this case you don't have to do that, which is awesome. So you actually have 2 full kits in the box, which is awesome, and it just adds that much more value to the kit, and it's very cool to see. So let's go ahead and focus on the unarmored form first, as there's not quite as much to do with this one, but it's still a really cool form. Some quite unique aspects to this in terms of, you know, just compared to other mecha models that I've seen and that I've built. Right now, for the normal clothes unarmored version of this, there's a few aspects that I like and some that I don't like. For example, the clear part there in the chest, and then these gold plated parts that go into that make like the straps around her midsection there. Those look really nice, and this whole like jacket section, how you have these gold pieces kind of connecting the lower parts of the jacket, how they just kind of like hanging there like that, and then here at the back, and then with those clear parts, that whole like jacket aspect of this is quite cool. And you have that kind of Chinese character there on her back. And then here for the sleeves, these clear parts are just kind of sleeves that just fit, I don't want to say loosely, but they're not actually like plugged into anything, so they're just kind of like fit up onto there, and by friction they're staying there on her forearms. So that like whole clothing aspect of this version of the kit is all really quite nice. That said, the helmet I don't really care too much for. It seems way too big. It's like it needs to be 1 or 2 sizes smaller so that it fits a little bit closer to the head. I get the whole kind of aesthetic going for that, but it just seems too big. You'll also see that there's visible nub marks here on the pre-plated silver parts there, right there on the side. These ones up here are kind of okay, and the gold ones there as well look nice. You got stickers there for the little purple lines on the mouse ears. Those are going to be some of your stickers you're going to place on there, and the clear part at the front, and then a triangle sticker right there. The clear part looks nice. Again, it looks kind of like a weird smile or something on there. I'm not really sure, but it's also kind of interesting. And then if we go down here to her shoes, the shoes also leave a little bit to be desired. I wish that these were, number one, maybe a little bit smaller. They seem quite a little bit large also, like similar to the helmet. They seem a little bit large compared to the body, but I guess if it's supposed to be like a younger character, then I guess that sort of makes sense. But I also just don't really care so much for the design of them. They look like they're kind of like shoes from Costco or something like that, that they're like a $10 pair of shoes, and they just don't really look that interesting just as far as like footwear here for the character compared to how interesting all the clothing is up in this section. But anyway, fortunately you can remove the helmet, and then you have this piece right here that will plug up that hole in the top of the head, and then you can take out these hair parts and just plug them right here directly into the head of the character, and you can just have her without the helmet on, which is nice. And then her kind of weapon for her unarmored form is this kind of staff, which has like a key on the end, and then these clear parts at the top. This also looks quite interesting. It doesn't really, I mean, I can't really tell what it's necessarily meant to be, but it fits the aesthetic nicely, and I think it looks pretty cool. You do also have another version of the head. Now, the only real difference with this one is that this one doesn't have that connection piece there on the top for plugging on the helmet. So if you wanted to have a head without the helmet on and you didn't want to have that piece right there, you can use this head. And this one also has these parts, which again, you could use those on this head if you wanted to, for example, but there's another one of your face option parts just for an example. And I think those gold parts there up at the hair do look nice. But when not in use on that head, these are meant to be here on our armored head. So let's take a look at this version of the kit now. This armored version I definitely like much better, and you can see here for this part right there, that is also where we have stickers for, but I didn't put those on just to leave the gold part, because I think the gold part just looks nice like that. I wouldn't want to cover that up with this sticker, to be honest. That's just this little like kind of tag part here attached on the front, and the front and back of that part is different. If I can get this off of here, there you go. The back side looks like that. It has different characters on the front and the back, so you could put it opposite if you wanted to. This is just how it's shown to be in the manual. That's just attached onto a little ball joint there. But the whole mask and kind of mouse aesthetic headwear for this version of the kit I think is much more interesting looking. How you still have these big mouse ears and you have these kind of gold parts which can move like that here on the inside of that. So you still get that kind of mouse aesthetic, but it's much more kind of mecha looking, which I think looks more cool. And then you have your hair parts just plugged into the back there like that. The clear parts on here are like right there in the chest, here in the midsection, around here at the back. There's a couple of clear purple parts. It's gonna be really hard to tell. There's like little vent details up in the back right there. There's clear purple parts. And going down here on the legs, still the feet are kind of just like weird kind of moon boot looking kind of space boots. Again, kind of uninteresting as far as the feet go, but the rest of the legs and all the mechanical details of everything here on the legs and the arms, the mix of the purple parts there. Again, you got some visible nub marks on the plated silver parts. It does look a little bit unsightly there. And it's really interesting because a lot of this kit was undergated, but unfortunately there's still parts on like the plated runners where some of the parts that are like the plated silver and plated gold weren't undergated where they should have been, so it's kind of weird. But back around here at the back, these kind of like thruster bits are a really cool section of the build, how you have like clear purple and silver and gold kind of all stacked up to make those parts, and then these kind of little wing bits, those are able to move, and these parts are also able to move. You can adjust the angle of those up and down, in and out, side to side there like that. And then the tail. So for the tail, you have the option of the metallic purple one. You also have a black version of that wire if you preferred, but I went ahead and used the metallic purple. And then at the end of the tail, you have these little flaps. There's 3 little bits here that open up, and that's how that looks there at the tail. Really cool. And these little flaps kind of look very similar to what you have going on up here in the ear as well, so kind of matching aesthetic, and I guess these little bits right here. So overall, I think the design of this one is much more interesting, this version of it, than the unarmored version, but there is really cool aspects of both versions to enjoy, certainly. There you can see another one of those face option parts here, there, and then our 2 angry faces like that. Otherwise, we have our hand option parts, and for our additional weaponry, we have this kind of handgun, sort of SMG kind of weapon here with this part that folds out there at the back. Otherwise, that's going to be about it. Pretty simple for that one, and nowhere to like store on the kit when not in use. No like holster or anything for that, unfortunately. And then her main weapon, which is pretty cool and quite large, as you can see, like compared to the size of the kit, it's almost the height of the kit itself. So this one as well has a really nice combination, there we go, sorry, should be like this, of the metallic parts and the clear purple parts and the black parts. Everything looks very nice here on this. This would be the main handle, and then your secondary handle is here on top. That's fixed, that doesn't move or anything. And then here on the front, this is actually 3 separate swords, or kind of large blades that you can pull off of there. And if you were to take all of those off, that's gonna look like that. And there you can see kind of the Gatling part of the gun there, where with the swords attached, it's kind of harder to see that aspect of this, to see it as just this big massive Gatling gun. But with those attached on there, it does still look pretty cool as this big massive Gatling gun, plus it has a bunch of swords, or at least 3 big swords there attached at the end of it as well. So it's a pretty awesome weapon. And taking a look at a few different poses here with the kit now, just to kind of demonstrate some of the stuff that you can do with this. Number 1, the articulation of these is pretty standard. So anything that you would expect from just kind of your standard Mecha Musume kits, the Kotobukiya ones, Attack Girls, MS General, they're all kind of basically the same in terms of the range of articulation for them. So nothing really too noteworthy in that regard. That said, the kit is a little bit smaller in stature, where the MS General kits are usually closer to like Frame Arms Girl size, which is a little bit larger, sort of like 1/10 scale. This character just seems to be like, because of the whole mouse aesthetic, and I think that kind of is fitting for that, she seems to be a like shorter character. So in terms of like her scale, I would say she still seems to be like 1/10 scale. But in terms of her height, she's probably going to be closer to like the height of a Megami Device kit, which is 1/12 scale. So a little bit smaller. So just something to consider just in terms of the size of the kit. But ultimately a really cool kit. I do like it, and it's again really great that you have 2 full bodies in the kit, so that just adds so much more value to this, that you can buy this kit and it's basically kind of 2 in 1. So that's awesome. You can of course mix and match some of those parts and kind of customize this. You can customize it of course with different model kits from the line as well. And I think if you wanted to get into kit bashing this with other different Mecha Musume kits from other companies as well, wouldn't be too difficult to do. But just as this kit is on its own, I think it's very cool. It has a lot to offer. The metallic plated parts, that kind of orangish gold, and the silver parts are really nice. There are going to be some visible nub marks here and there, but if you're not too worried about that, those do add some really nice accents to this, which because the kit there's a lot of black there, so just to break up the monotony of a lot of black on the kit, having some nice little shiny bits here and there is nice, because the clear purple parts are really nice as well, but if they're clear purple set in or amongst like a bunch of black parts, they don't really stand out. They're kind of hard to see. So anywhere where you can see those clear purple accents popping as well is also really nice. But I would say that the silver and gold parts definitely stand out the most as some really nice accent colors here for this. And overall, guys, I've got to say, amongst the different MS General kits that I've built so far, this one is probably my favorite. I do really like the design of this. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about the character design? I especially like the mecha version, like the fully armored version. I think it's quite cool. The addition of the tail and kind of backpack parts there also looks really cool on the character, and those mouse ears with the kind of like little gold sort of like antenna there in the ear. I don't know, there's just some really nice details to that version of this kit that I think look really cool. Let me know your thoughts. If you guys want to pick up this kit for yourself, or anything else from the line, or other different Mecha Musume kits, or anything else you guys might need, check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Got all sorts of this cool stuff there for you guys, in this kit included, and other stuff. So check out the link in the video description. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video today. If you'd also like to like and subscribe while you're here, that would also be greatly appreciated. But until next time, hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.